I'm Chuck Reed, current president and a director, founder of the Kentucky Wounded Hero program. My background is Marine Corps 72 to 76, Marine Corps Reserve 76 to 79, Army National Guard 1979 to 2016. That turns into 40-some years of military experience. Kentucky State Trooper from 1976 until 2005. State Police, I started, of course, on the road, Unit 1155. Spent a lot of times on the highways and byways in rural Shelby, Spencer, Franklin counties, Woodford counties, as well as other extended operations, special details, and so forth. I had out of 32 years, I had 15 of those years on the roadway. I spent Operation Green Gray. I spent 3 years with the Army National Guard in our drug program, marijuana eradication, especially in eastern Kentucky and sometimes in western Kentucky. I was executive security for Martha Lane Collins for 2 years. I spent my last 4 years with the state police as a special detail investigations on criminal activity here in the state of Kentucky, and then assisting other law enforcement that had to come into Kentucky, working a case from out of states and sometimes involving a federal agency or two. It's been asked how many days out of 32 years as a police officer, how many days do you spend in the hospital? And it's been a number of occasions. I've broken bones, stitches, and so forth, traffic accidents, was assaulted one time, making an arrest. So I've got total of 8 days, overnighters in the hospital, and a handful of treat and release, stitches and so forth, that sort of thing. So, but that's just part of the program as a police officer in Kentucky. I remember one time, and I stole this idea from another trooper out of eastern Kentucky. He rolled up on the scene, and it was a drunk and about 5 of his buddies all together in one vehicle. The trooper was going to arrest, of course, this driver for operating a motor vehicle under the influence of intoxicating beverages. Well, there were 6 total, though. You had the driver and 5 companions. He could tell he was going to have a problem. So what he did was he took his hat off, he put it on the head of the driver, and he said, "Raise your right hand," and he deputized him on the side of the highway. He said, "Put them in jail, put them in my vehicle." Well, it just so happened that the driver was the biggest and of the bulk of the 6 of them. He was the biggest, and 8 days of growth, gruff, and he just swelled all up. Looked around, he starts grabbing his buddies, dragging them out of the car one at a time, and he stuffs them all. And the last guy, the 5th guy in the back seat, he was doing this, and Trooper Stewart had to help him close the door. And then, of course, he got in the front seat to ride to the jail with that trooper's campaign hat on. And I used that one time, but it was only 2 guys. During those years, it didn't register much in the past, but 120 counties in Kentucky, almost every county in the state of Kentucky has a wounded hero or 2 or a half dozen. Jefferson County, Fayette County, but eastern Kentucky, western Kentucky. Deputy sheriffs, jailers, firefighters especially, EMTs, injured, trying to take care of their community. Police officers especially, shot, cut, traffic accidents in numerous communities and counties. So, bottom line, that's what the Kentucky Wounded Hero program is all about, is just giving back, in short explanation of our program. We've been in existence since 2007, and as a member of the Kentucky Army National Guard, 2007, we came up with a program for our wounded heroes returning from Iraq and Afghanistan. In 2012, we added on to our program emergency first responders who'd been hurt in the line of duty, police officers, firefighters, EMTs that were hurt while on the job. 2007 through 2011, we were military only. A lot of guardsmen were coming home, and in the early days after Iraq and first Gulf War and so forth, invasion of Iraq, the government, it just appeared that there just wasn't a lot going on with treatment for our kids. And I say kids respectfully, most of them were younger than I was at that time. But our men were coming home, and women coming home with issues that needed to be dealt with. So we started the program in 2007 in Frankfurt at Boone Guard Center, Army National Guard Center there. We'd have picnics, we'd have gatherings, and then we began meeting in churches, we began meeting in restaurants, we began just gathering groups together, and we began to grow. And as we grew in 2012, we added emergency first responders as well. And what's interesting about that is almost 90% of the folks I've had contact with who are police officers, firefighters, or EMTs were prior military, men as well as women. We continue on to this day, May of 2023, and we come into contact with as many as 450 wounded heroes every year. Some years past, it's been 150 to 200, but here in the last 3 or 4 years, we've increased giving back, literally, from a loving community and a country that appreciate the servicemen and women of this country. And we look forward to the future. Some of the things that we do, and by the way, the name Kentucky Wounded Heroes can be a misnomer. We have taken so far troops and emergency first responders from up to 36 states in the Union. Other states have been involved with us. We've opened up 2 Wounded Hero organizations, one in Iowa, the Iowa Wounded Hero Program, and then in Ohio. They call themselves the Walleyes for Wounded Heroes Program. And they meet twice a year and take our Wounded Heroes fishing for walleye a couple times a year now. We do, in Kentucky, fishing, hunting, bird hunting, turkey, pheasant. We used to do quail quite a bit, but we've kind of slacked off on quail. We do a lot of fishing in Kentucky. We go to Lake Erie every year, walleye fishing. We go to Florida sometimes twice a year, depending on our bank account. We go to Alaska once a year. That's a special bucket list trip. Most of the time, that's aimed at our combat wounded veterans. However, we do make space available for deserving individuals, Kentucky Wounded Heroes or out-of-staters. We spend time also gathering wild game dinners. We have fundraisers in the field. We meet people all the time who are eager to help, to give back to the Kentucky Wounded Hero Program and our servicemen and women and our emergency first responders. Right now, probably too numerous to recall just who gives back, but we have some folks that are really have taken us under their wing here in Kentucky. We have, right now, we have a number of fishing events in Kentucky. We just finished up here about 2 weeks ago, Crappie USA. We had about a dozen staff and wounded heroes that took place down at Green River Reservoir with Crappie USA. All the reports came in. It was a fantastic time. The guys really have a good time. They caught crappie, did a really good job. Blake with the Crappie USA is really looking forward to the future with us. We've got another fishing event laid on in October with Crappie USA, and we'll be double in size. I think they're looking at about 25 of us to come in, take part with them. Besides Lake Erie, we've got Florida coming up in June. Sometimes we'll go twice a year to Florida, saltwater fishing. They'll chase an alligator or two once in a while down there. It just depends. The program changes every year in Florida, but the boat, the airboat organization down there takes us under the wing also every year, and it's really a fun time for our ladies and gentlemen that come in and join us, our wounded heroes. They really enjoy the trip down there, and they normally bring back a lot of fish from Florida. We just finished up turkey season, as a matter of fact, here in May. I think we had 3 turkeys that were taken. A family outside of Irvin known as the Bicknell Bunch. Turkey hunting, we had about a dozen individuals in and out, either chasing turkey, carrying turkeys out of the field, or on the turkey calls. So good time was had by our guys down there. We just broke the ice with them. We're looking forward to the future with the Bicknell Bunch for sure. I want to give a shout out to Zaxby's Restaurant. Zaxby's Restaurant. Steve Brewer, who's on our board of directors, is responsible for supplying us with all the chicken fingers and all the side orders, and has been for the last 5 or 6 years. Steve is the owner of the Shelbyville Zaxby's, and he's a part owner to another 3 or 4 restaurants in and around the Louisville area, and he does a good job for us and donates whenever he needs to. The Kentucky Wounded Hero program has a website, and it's all one word, Kentucky Wounded Heroes, joined together, KentuckyWoundedHeroes.net. And Al Harris, who's our web guru, will keep things up to date, and he'll put out all types of information on that website. Most of the time, we'll have on our website a month or 2 or 3 out of an event, and folks can register on our website, and we'll keep a roster, and we'll invite those that fill out wishes to take part with us, hunting and fishing, or other events that we have, other meetings and greetings and so forth there. Our program is probably one of the only programs in the United States, nonprofits, that are in the give back business from a country, from America. We are all volunteers. All of our staff put in their own time and many times their own money. You don't see these types of programs around very often, but that's the way we roll. We are a nonprofit, we're a 501c3, and all of our staff, a majority of them are Kentucky Wounded Heroes. They've been wounded in combat operations, or they've been medically retired, trying to overcome things that have happened to them in the military, either in training or in actual combat. We open the door to as many as we possibly can, and we hope the future is still bright for all of our events and giving back to our wounded heroes. Okay, obviously, there are individuals, military as well as emergency first responders, who have lost a limb or who have been injured in such a way that makes it unable for them to be physically capable without the help. We do deal with wheelchair-bound folks. We have that capability. These days, a lot of folks have track chairs, which really makes a big difference in folks that are unable to get around, but they take part with us. They're always welcome, and we do what we can. And if we have an individual that's literally homebound and can't get in or out, with us, it's known as safety in numbers. We will descend on their residence. We've done this in the past. Descend into their home, pick them up, pack them out, put them in the van or another vehicle, and away we go. And there's nothing to putting them in a boat. There's nothing to putting them in a deer blind. And that's just the way we roll. One other quick addition here. What most people see on any video or any photos, you see all the good times, all the happy times. And a lot of times it's been said to me out in the community, that they'll say, wow, that's a fun organization, you know, it's all fun and games. Well, quite the contrary. What we don't promote and what you don't see is putting a wounded hero on a pedestal. The time that we've had to deal with them and put in time for them, taking them to meetings or getting their license renewed, taking them to the VA for treatment, for intervening in some type of a struggle at home, domestically. We deal with that, but we don't promote it. And I think most viewers here on the video would understand that. It's a private thing that we keep to ourselves, but we always lend helping hands. We come up with ways to donate. We pay insurance payments on occasion when we have to. We put people in the hotel when we can. We have a men's shelter we have access to. We have beds available to our people, our veterans, and or emergency first responders that need a place. But we don't promote that. But we have funding available for all types of give back to our veterans and wounded heroes. Those that might be interested in helping us in this mission of giving back, our website, again, KentuckyWoundedHeroes.net. You can donate through the website. Al Harris is standing by for you to be in touch with him. You can give me a direct call. I'm at 502-235-4262. I take probably 1 or 2 phone calls a day, and that's a good thing, especially from our wounded heroes, folks that might want to be interested in our program, taking part with us. There's plenty of ways to get in touch with us, and I hope to hear from folks that want to give back and help us to give back to our wounded heroes.